So we're now going to go to Marie-Joseph Devillers, who is from France, and she is a lesbian and feminist activist in France, a member of New Femme, WDI France, and also ICAMS, the International Coalition Against Surrogate Motherhood. Marie-Joseph is going to talk about the Lesbian Film Festival in Paris, the Lesbian Film Festival and Women Only Film Festival, which has been sort of overpowered by trans activism. So thank you so much, Marie-Joseph, and over to you.
Yes, I want to talk about the good and bad news from France, because Joe asked me to talk about France. And the news are not good, but some are worse, if I may say so. The first thing, which is very recent, it's this what happened to this Lesbian Film Festival. It's a festival which is more than a 30-year-old, and it's a lesbian and only festival. It is something very, very important for lesbians here in France. And what happened to this during this festival? A few lesbians made remarks about three out of 5 short films featuring trans people, and also one volunteer muttered another man when a trans-identified man passed by. The festival team dismissed this lesbian volunteer as a volunteer and forbid her to take part in the debates. At the end of the festival, the team issued an apologetic press release with excuses. Nobody put pressure on them to do so. They didn't have to humiliate themselves that way. I quote, "We apologize and condemn any transphobic language, whether it be from members, volunteers, or members of the public. For next year's festival, we are committed to training and doing everything we can to avoid such incident. For us lesbians, this means that their solidarity is no longer with lesbians, but with trans-identified people. We must notice that only half of the team +2 voted for this shameful press release. About lesbians still, lesbians and lesbian organizations are still under attack. We have this very important organization called Lilith Cell, which is something like 20, 30 years old too. And it's an organization which is in south of France, Marseille. The city council cut off their annual small grant for being gender critical. In Paris, we have a center, LGBTQI++ center, and it's mainly gay and trans. And there are only 2 lesbian spaces only. One is called the Senoritas. It's a group of elderly lesbians. They've been suspended recently as they supported one of their members being expelled of the center for allegedly being transphobic. There is also the Friday evening, which is a weekly gathering within the centers, within the Center for Lesbians. One of its organizers has also been expelled. The center offered the Senoritas to follow a training against transphobia organized by trans people. Also, there are conferences being cancelled in Paris, Lyon, and Lille. These conferences were about the book written by Caroline Eliashef and Corinne Masson. It's called The Making of the Transgender Child. Those two women, one is a psychoanalyst and the other a pedopsychiatrist. In Paris, the mayor of Paris Center canceled the conference organized in the town hall, and a pressure from LGBT organization people. In Lille, the opponent made such a row at the conference that it couldn't be held. In Lyon, the conference, it's always a conference on this book, about this book, very important book. In Lyon, the conference was organized by Regard de Femmes, which is a feminist organization. The place rented for the event canceled the event under the same sort of pressure. But Regard de Femmes managed to find another place, and the conference was held under police protection. Last fact, in Paris, we had our annual march for the elimination of violence against women. It was very well attended. But on the thousands of pre-manufactured posters that you can see on the pictures, you couldn't see the word women. Never, in none of them. Their slogan was against sexual and sexist violence. This slogan erases women, as it doesn't say who are the victims. And we all, feminist organizations, are very ashamed of this march, even if it was very successful, because a lot of young people came and marched with us. There are very bad news, but we managed to have some good news. What about resistance? The resistance. We had it is very important to access the media. Here are two examples. I will give the links in the chat. There is this channel M6 broadcast, which was called Trans, Unique in its Gender. And it was followed by a debate on transgender children. What do we do? And one of us was invited to the debate with a very critical standpoint. It's important because M6 is a very well-followed channel, TV channel. There is also this web TV media part, which is also well-followed. And in a reportage, there is a very short but powerful reportage about l'Amazon Paris against trans ideology. It was very good. And we also have this, this group called Rebelles du Genre, and they've already gathered 50 testimonies of young women, they transitioners, desisters, or young women who have left the trans ideology movement. They all broadcast. These testimonies are all broadcasted, and you can read them on their websites. Last thing, this year, a feminist front was built. It gathers 65 feminist and lesbian organizations with a clear position on sex and gender. But I'm very aware that it's not enough. We really have to do more to resist. And we hope we will manage to do more.